people are so powerful. Together, we can do anything. We the people can change the world. We the people have had enough. We the people are done crying, are done screaming, are done period. We want liberty. We want justice. The people shouldn't have to hold the state accountable. The state should just be accountable. Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Power.
The schoolyard erupted in chaos. A group of black schoolgirls were cornered near the gate, books clutched tightly against their chests. Laughter, mocking and cruel, echoed across the dusty ground. "Move faster, slowpoke," one boy jeered, shoving a girl named Amina to the side. Her notebook fell, pages scattering like fragile leaves in the wind. She knelt quickly to gather them, heart pounding. Another boy, taller, grabbed her bag and swung it overhead like a weapon. "Look at her. Always carrying books, thinking she's better than us," he sneered. Amina's friends froze, too scared to intervene. Some students whispered from the sidelines, phones in hand, filming the scene instead of helping. Her chest tightened. "Please, just give it back," she stammered. But the boys only laughed louder. "You think being smart makes you untouchable?" one mocked. "You think your skin matters? Not here." Amina's vision blurred with tears she refused to shed. She reached for her bag again, and the tallest bully shoved her hard. She stumbled backward, scraping her knee on the rough ground. Then came silence. A shadow fell across the group. A calm, commanding voice cut through the tension. "Step away. Now." The boys froze. Amina looked up. Her breath caught in her throat. There he was, Ibrahim Traoré. No entourage. No armor. Just the calm authority of a leader who didn't need to raise his voice. "You, pick up those books. Now," Traoré said, pointing firmly. The bullies scrambled, tripping over themselves as they returned the scattered notebooks. Traoré turned to Amina, crouching slightly to meet her eyes. "Are you hurt?" he asked softly. Shaking her head, she whispered, "I'm okay, sir." He stood and faced the entire crowd of students and teachers who had gathered. "Is this what you call strength?" he asked, scanning their faces. "Hurting those weaker than you? Laughing at them because of their skin, their dreams, or their courage?" No one dared answer. Then Traoré's gaze fell back on Malik, the tallest boy. "You think you're powerful because you can push and yell. Real power is protecting those who cannot protect themselves." Malik swallowed hard. I'm sorry, sir," he muttered. Traoré nodded once. "And that apology means nothing unless your actions change. Do you understand?" Malik nodded again, shame written across his face. Traoré turned to Amina. "What were you reading?" "Biology. I want to be a doctor one day," she said, voice trembling. A small, approving smile appeared on Traoré's face. "Good. Never let anyone take that from you. Books are your shield. Knowledge is your weapon. Keep moving forward." As he walked away, the students whispered among themselves. The air was charged, heavy with awe. Amina straightened her back, gripping her notebook tightly. For the first time that day, she felt safe and powerful. Even from a distance, she could feel it, courage had returned to the schoolyard. By the next morning, news of the incident had spread through the school like wildfire. Students whispered in hallways, teachers exchanged concerned glances, And the bullies from yesterday, Malik and his friends, sat nervously, unsure what would come next. Without warning, Ibrahim Traoré returned. This time, he didn't wait in the yard. He entered the school gates calmly, scanning the crowd. His presence alone silenced the chatter. The principal hurried over, bowing slightly. "Sir, it's an honor, if I may." Traoré shook his head. "This isn't about honor. It's about what I saw. Gather everyone, students, teachers, staff, now." Within minutes, the entire school courtyard was filled. Hundreds of students pressed together, curious and anxious. Some whispered nervously, others recorded on their phones. Malik and his friends shuffled forward, guilt evident in their posture. Traoré stepped forward, his voice carrying across the courtyard. "Yesterday, I saw something that broke my heart," he began. He paused, letting his gaze sweep across the students. A young girl, full of dreams, was mocked, pushed, and humiliated, all because of her skin, her courage, and her desire to learn. The courtyard fell silent. Even the teachers, who had grown used to discipline issues, looked ashamed. Traoré continued, his voice steady and firm. "Strength is not measured by how much you can intimidate or harm. Real strength is protecting those who cannot defend themselves. Real courage is standing up for justice, even when no one else does." He turned to Malik and the other bullies. "You, step forward." The boys hesitated but complied. Traoré circled them slowly, his eyes sharp. "You believe power comes from fear. But fear is weakness. Respect is power. If you want to grow, you must first learn to protect, not destroy." One by one, the boys muttered apologies, heads bowed. I was wrong," Malik whispered. "And I promised to change," added another. Traoré nodded once. "Actions speak louder than words. You will prove your apologies every day from now on. Protect, help, and uplift. Do you understand?" They nodded, visibly shaken. Then he turned to Amina. "What were you reading yesterday?" "Biology, sir." "I want to be a doctor," she said quietly. Traoré smiled faintly. "Good. Your dreams are your shield. Your knowledge is your weapon. Never let anyone take that from you. And remember this, you are not alone. Courage can be contagious, and today, you've inspired everyone here." He faced the entire school once more. "From today, this school will have a simple rule: every student will stand up for those who cannot stand for themselves. Every act of bullying, harassment, or disrespect will be met with support and courage. Together, you will create a safe space. Together, you will protect each other." A hush fell over the courtyard. Slowly, students began nodding, inspired. Even the teachers looked relieved and motivated to implement the change. As Traoré turned to leave, the camera caught one small moment. Amina stood taller, clutching her books. Her eyes sparkled not with fear, but with pride. For the first time, she realized, one stand for justice could awaken an entire community. By the next morning, the schoolyard buzzed with excitement and whispers. The video clips of Ibrahim Traoré standing up for Amina had gone viral. Students were replaying the moments on their phones, teachers discussed the speech during staff meetings, and parents shared it with friends and family. From small towns to big cities across Burkina Faso, the story was spreading like wildfire. In Dakar, teachers used the video in classrooms to teach respect and courage. In Accra, girls' groups painted murals depicting Amina holding her book with the words, "Courage is contagious." Even in remote villages, parents were gathering their children, telling them, "See? One brave act can change everything." Amina herself was still processing everything. She had expected whispers or ridicule after the bullying incident, but instead, she was met with admiration. Students who had ignored her before now offered smiles and words of encouragement. Even Malik, the boy who had bullied her, approached carefully. I'm sorry again, Amina," he said quietly. "I'll try to do better." Amina nodded, holding back tears. "Thank you. That means a lot. By midday, news reporters arrived at the school eager to cover the story. Amina was invited for her first interview. Cameras flashed as she stepped into the studio. The journalist asked, "How does it feel to have the president himself defend you?" Amina took a deep breath. "He didn't just defend me. He taught all of us that respect doesn't come from fear or power, it comes from heart. Anyone can stand up, no matter how small or scared they feel." The interview went viral almost instantly. Clips of Amina speaking confidently, recounting the events, and praising Traore's courage spread across Africa. Hashtags like #StandWithAmina, #Traore the Protector, and #BlackGirlsMatter began trending. The movement quickly grew beyond the school. Teachers, parents, and students began organizing local courage circles, weekly gatherings where students shared experiences, learned how to support each other, and discussed ways to stand against bullying and discrimination. One parent in Ouagadougou shared on social media, "For the first time, I feel like my daughter can walk to school without fear." This story has given her hope. Traore himself monitored the movement quietly from his office. He read letters from students and parents, stories of bullying, courage, and newfound respect. He smiled as he handed one to his aide. "She's teaching the nation faster than I ever could," he said. Amina, meanwhile, began visiting nearby schools, sharing her story with younger students. "Never let anyone make you feel small," she told them, her voice steady. "Knowledge is your shield. Courage is your weapon. Stand up for yourself, and for others." At every stop, children listened intently, some holding their books close, inspired to act. The movement was no longer just about her, it was about every child in every school. By the end of the week, Amina's story was on national news, radio stations, and social media platforms across Africa. From a single schoolyard incident, a wave of courage and change had begun to ripple through an entire nation. And in her heart, Amina knew, this was only the beginning. A month had passed since Traore had defended Amina. Her story had gone viral across Africa, inspiring students, teachers, and parents alike. But now, the stakes were higher. Amina received an official invitation to speak at the African Youth Leadership Summit in Ouagadougou. She stared at the letter, heart pounding. Thousands of people. Presidents, ministers, journalists, and me. Her mother noticed her hesitation. "You can do this, Amina," she said gently. "You've already faced fear before. This is just another stage." The day of the summit arrived. The grand hall was massive. Flags of African nations hung from the ceiling, and hundreds of students, leaders, and media personnel filled every seat. Amina stood backstage, hands trembling as she clutched her speech notes. Her friends whispered encouragement. "You've got this," said one. "You're not alone," added another. But as she peeked at the audience, her courage wavered. Thousands of eyes stared back. The weight of expectation felt crushing. Suddenly, a familiar presence appeared at the front, Ibrahim Traoré. He nodded at her, calm and reassuring. That small gesture anchored her heart. She wasn't alone. Stepping onto the stage, Amina felt the applause wash over her. Cameras flashed, and a hush fell as she reached the podium. She began, voice trembling at first. "I used to think being small meant being powerless." The audience leaned in. "But I learned that courage doesn't always mean fighting. Sometimes, it just means standing up, even when everyone else is silent." She recounted the schoolyard incident, the bullies, the fear, and how Traore had stepped in. She described how his words had inspired not only her, but students across the nation. Her confidence grew with every sentence. "When someone stands for you," she said, "it doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. It reminds you that your life matters. Every black girl, every child, deserves protection, respect, and the right to dream." The crowd erupted in applause. Teachers, students, and even government officials were visibly moved. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Traore rose from his seat and approached the stage. "You spoke not for yourself," he said quietly, "but for millions of children who have been silenced. Courage like yours awakens nations. Amina's voice rang clearer than ever. Together, we can protect each other. Together, we can ensure that no child is left behind. Courage is contagious, let's spread it. The applause thundered again, louder this time, carrying her words far beyond the hall. After the summit, Amina's story spread even further. News channels, radio stations, and social media shared clips of her speech. Young girls and boys were inspired to stand up for themselves and others. Backstage, Amina finally allowed herself to smile. She had faced her fear of public speaking, and in doing so, had become a voice for countless children across Africa. She realized something profound. Courage wasn't just about one girl, or one act. It was about sparking a movement, teaching others that standing up for justice could ripple far beyond any single moment. And for Amina, this was only the beginning. Weeks after the summit, Amina's story had grown into a national movement. Schools across Burkina Faso were organizing courage circles, encouraging students to stand up for themselves and others. Teachers shared her speech, parents praised her bravery, and young girls everywhere felt empowered to dream big. But not everyone celebrated. Some traditional leaders and conservative adults viewed her message as disruptive. "You're encouraging children to question authority," one official muttered to a reporter. "Girls should focus on schoolwork, not leadership," said another. The backlash reached Amina directly. She received letters filled with criticism, online trolls mocked her, and a few adults tried to intimidate her school. Her mother noticed her growing anxiety. "Courage always meets resistance," she said softly. "The stronger your message, the louder the opposition will be." Amina clenched her notebook tightly. She had faced bullies before, but now the battle was against words, opinions, and systems. Determined, she continued visiting schools. Every day, she met new students, shared her story, and inspired others to stand tall. "I know some people will tell you that your voice doesn't matter," she said in one speech, her voice unwavering. "But courage isn't measured by how safe it feels, it's measured by how boldly you speak anyway." At a school in Bobo Dioulasso, hundreds of students raised their notebooks in solidarity. "We are the daughters and sons of courage," they shouted. Amina's eyes filled with tears. She realized that every act of bravery, no matter how small, was creating a ripple that could not be stopped. Meanwhile, critics continued to plot. Some tried to pressure the school administration to silence her. Others spread misinformation online, claiming she was being used for political gain. The tension escalated when a local TV station aired a heated debate. A pundit argued, "This girl is too young to influence society. She should focus on herself." But Amina was invited to respond. She took a deep breath, standing tall. "I am young, yes, but courage doesn't wait for age. Black girls deserve respect, education, and protection. If we remain silent, nothing will change. Change begins now, with us." Her words resonated far beyond the studio. Clips of her response went viral, trending nationwide. The backlash only amplified her message. Even Traore noticed the growing resistance. From his office, he instructed aides. "Keep her safe, but let her voice shine. Opposition is natural, it proves that she is changing minds." He sent a message directly to Amina. "Every challenge you face is proof that you are making a difference. Stand tall, and I will stand with you." That night, as Amina returned home, she reflected on the day. Fear still lingered, but so did determination. She realized that true leadership wasn't just about applause or admiration. It was about continuing to speak, even when voices rise against you. For the first time, she understood the full weight of her journey. She was not just protecting herself, she was protecting every girl, every child, and every dream that dared to rise in the face of injustice. And she knew that the fight was far from over. It was early morning when Amina set out for another school visit. Her heart raced as she noticed a black SUV following at a distance. The shadows of yesterday's critics still lingered in her mind. She gripped her notebook tighter, remembering Traore's words, "Courage attracts both light and shadow." Suddenly, the SUV sped up, its occupants clearly attempting intimidation. Panic rippled through her friends and fellow students. Before anyone could react, a convoy of official vehicles appeared, blocking the road. The driver instinctively slowed as a commanding voice cut through the tension. "Step back. Everyone step back." From the lead vehicle, Ibrahim Traoré emerged, calm, authoritative, and unyielding. The men in the black SUV skidded to a halt. Their attempt at intimidation had failed. Traoré walked forward, his eyes locking onto Amina. "You are safe now," he said softly, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Tears welled in her eyes. "Thank you. I didn't know if I could do this alone." "You're never alone," he replied. "Courage isn't just about facing fear, it's about inspiring others, and you've done exactly that." By midday, news of the attempted intimidation and Traoré's intervention spread across the country. Headlines blared. Ibrahim Traoré protects young activist, courage meets leadership. Black girls safe after threat, president steps in. The public response was overwhelming. Social media exploded with support. Students, teachers, and parents flooded platforms with posts. "We stand with Amina. Courage can't be silenced." That afternoon, Amina returned to a school assembly, Traoré by her side. Hundreds of students, teachers, and community members gathered. Cameras flashed, and the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Traoré raised his hand, silencing the crowd. "Today, we celebrate not one girl, not one leader, but every child who has the courage to stand for justice. This is a victory for all of you." Then he turned to Amina. "You showed the nation what courage looks like. One voice, when brave, can awaken millions. Keep speaking. Keep fighting. You are never alone." Amina's voice, strong and unwavering, rang across the hall. "Together, we protect each other. Together, we ensure that no child is left behind. Courage is contagious, and today, we all become stronger because of it." The assembly erupted in applause. Teachers, students, and parents cheered, some wiping tears from their eyes. Even former skeptics looked inspired, realizing the power of courage and solidarity. Weeks later, schools nationwide adopted anti-bullying programs, emphasizing respect, protection, and equality for all students. Young girls walked to school confidently, books held high, empowered by the movement Amina had sparked. Traoré watched quietly from his office, satisfied. The young girl who had once been bullied was now a symbol of hope. He smiled as he thought, this is how nations rise, not through fear, but through courage and compassion. And for Amina, walking through her schoolyard that morning, she felt it in every step. The weight of fear was gone, replaced by the unshakable belief that one brave act can change a nation. The girl who had once been pushed to the ground now stood taller than any fear, and in her courage, an entire nation found its heart.